Hi everybody, I hope that you're all doing really well. So today I am back filming a video for the first time since my holiday. I've mentioned in a vlog that I'm currently filming that I had every intention of filming as much as I could when I was on holiday. However, I did not account for the fact that I was not going to really have any time in the villa that we were staying at on my own. And as I've mentioned in the past, I feel a little bit uncomfortable filming around other people. The idea of doing like a big sit down video whilst the rest of my family are just like in the same room makes me feel a bit uncomfortable. Also because I can completely guarantee that my brother-in-law would be making fun of me massively whilst I did it. I just know he would. So I only got one video filmed whilst I was on holiday, and there has been a little bit of a gap in terms of uploading, but that is fine. I hope that was fine. You know, we have to roll with the punches. And it also means that I'm kind of behind in talking about my plans for Non-Fiction November. Non-Fiction November is hosted by the wonderful Olive over at A Book Olive every year, and it is basically just encouraging people to read a little bit more non-fiction than they usually would. I'm a big fan of this month. I always encourage people to read more non-fiction if they can, and I didn't really know what to do for this TBR because honestly I feel like because I am such a mood reader I would just pick whatever I'm interested in at the time. But I did think it would be really fun to kind of look at my current non-fiction TBR and pick out a few books based on the prompts that Olive has set. And those 4 prompts are collection, industry, style and treatment. And to pick out a couple of books for each of those prompts that I could potentially read in the next month. Olive has said that you are free to go as loose or as strict as you want with these prompts. And I think you'll find that the picks that I have varying levels of relatedness to the prompt. Starting with the prompt of collection, the first book that I am interested in reading to correspond with this prompt is Ask a Historian, 50 Surprising Answers to Things You Always Wanted to Know by Greg Jenner. You've probably heard me talk about this plenty of times already. It's one of my most anticipated releases of this year. And it is a collection of questions and answers about different things to do with history, human history, world history that you've always wanted to know. Questions in here such as who was the richest person that ever lived? When was the first Monday? Who was the first vegetarian? And question number 28, which is one of my favourites, which is why do Greek statues have small penises? And many, many more. This is one that I've definitely wanted to get to this month already, so the fact that it kind of sort of hits a prompt is a win for me. And then the second one that I think will hit the collection prompt is The King's Painter, The Life and Times of Hans Holbein by Franny and Moyle. This one I wanted to slot in here because I am already about 150 pages into this book already, and I kind of wanted the boost to keep on going. Not because I'm not enjoying the book, but it is quite a chunky little book. This is kind of a biography and art appreciation of the artist Hans Holbein, who was the prolific painter of the Tudor court. Pretty much all of the major portraits that you would think of from Henry VIII's reign were probably done by Hans Holbein. And I guess this kind of hits the collection prompt because, you know, art collection of his paintings, and we do get to see many different paintings of his in this book. It is a beautifully designed thing. So yes, definitely want to read this month. Then moving on to the prompt of industry, these ones are kind of loosely based around industry, and the first one is How to Be a Victorian by Ruth Goodman. This is a carryover from my Victober TBR. I got about 92 pages into this before I ended up going on holiday, and that is really the only reason that I didn't finish it, was because I wanted to only read fiction on holiday, just for the speed of reading. But I was really enjoying this, and of course the Victorian period is most well known for the big boom in industry. Considering that this is going through the daily lives of Victorians, I'm sure that factory working, trains and such are going to be mentioned in here. So I feel like that is a cheeky little link to industry. On a similar kind of tact, I've got Gentleman Jack, Regency, Landowner, Seducer and Secret Diarist, which is the biography of Anne Lister, who is a local historical icon in my hometown of Halifax, and has had a lot of historical recognition and attraction recently for the fact that her diaries were transcribed about 30 years ago, and it revealed her many affairs with different women. So she is very much seen as an LGBTQ+ icon. But once again, I'm kind of sneakily slipping this into the industry prompt because Anne Lister was very interested in industrial improvement, and I feel like surely that's going to come up in here. She lived in the early 19th century but pre-Victoria, and I feel like in that time period, you know, industry is hard to escape. So that's what I'm picking for that. It might be a little bit sus, but I'm going with it. However, I do not think that you are going to fault me for the books that I've picked to fulfill the style prompt, because I've taken this very, very literally. First up, we have Stuart Style, Monarchy, Dress and the Scottish Male Elite by Maria Hayward. I was wanting to read this and talk about it alongside 2 other fashion history books that I've previously read, that being Dress in the Age of Jane Austen and Tudor Fashion. I felt like this would slot very nicely in the middle of those 2. And I've said in the past that Stuart Style is I find it just a bit dodgy, especially like this portrait. Like, what is this? What is going on? Like, I love these shoes, but I would not wear it with those tights and those bows on the knee. Like, what is going on? But I am very open to reading this book and hearing Maria Hayward's descriptions and her explanations of why this was, why is this the way it is? I want to learn more. And then my second book to fulfill the style prompt is The Pocket, A Hidden History of Women's Lives by Maria Burman and Ariane Fennetaux. And this is talking about the long history of women's pockets, and particularly the little detachable pockets that women would wear around their middles. I feel like the modern day equivalent for us now would be like a bum bag or a fanny pack, as I believe that is what they're called in the US, but a lot daintier and hidden under your clothing. I'm always outraged at the ways that women's fashion denies us pockets nowadays, and this really goes into detail about pockets of the time, and especially how they were like these secret little places that women had of their very own. And maybe the reason that so many women's clothing today comes without pockets is because men don't want us to have secrets. How dare you? Let me have my secrets. And then finally, for the prompt of treatment, the first book that I have to show you takes this down a medical route, as you might expect, and it is Blood and Guts, A Short History of Medicine by Rory Porter. This very much does as it says on the tin and is a short history of medicine and of illness and disease, doctors, medicines, cures. And I'm really interested in reading this, particularly because this is from around about 20 years ago, I want to say, maybe a little bit older. And I've been reading the first few chapters of this, and it is so very apparent the ways in which like discussion on medicine has changed, and especially how we are talking about medicine and the history of medicine with the perspective of living under COVID, looking at the history of medicine, but it's coming from a very like 90s, early 2000s lens of that time and the kind of illnesses that they were dealing with then. And little did they know of what was to come. Also, there are a lot of images in here, and we know how much I love a good history book with lots of images. And then the final book that I'm going to choose for the prompt of treatment is Natives, Race and Class in the Ruins of Empire by Akala. And this, as you can imagine, I'm very much going down the idea of treatment in terms of how we treat other people, and particularly in this context, how society treats people based on their race and their class. How those lessons are taught from a very young age, and how that extends into adulthood and engaging with wider society. This is a book that I've heard nothing but good things about. I've heard it's really poignant and powerful, and so I'm very, very intrigued to read this. So there we go, that is my little TBR of the different books that I might like to get to during Non-Fiction November. I don't know if I will get to everything. I may pick up some different books that don't fit with my prompts at all. I do have quite a bit of non-fiction on my TBR, but I thought it would be fun just to go through these prompts and pick a couple of books and just get the conversation going. Are you going to be participating in Non-Fiction November? Do the books that you have fit these 4 different prompts at all? I'd love to know what you're reading. I want to know what you're excited about. I hope you're having a fantastic, fantastic day, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks. Bye.